Hey pups, RP here, and today is another top 5 video involving my memories with Pokemon. I was originally going to do a 20 memories, but I could only do 5 because that's what I could do, and 20 would kind of rack up my brain a little bit. Also, this video was inspired by Jay Witz on his video of 20 Pokemon memories, but again, I could only do 5 main ones that gave me happiness throughout my life. That being said, let's begin. Starting with number 5 is the card collecting. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved collecting Pokemon cards. I tried playing the trading card game, but I wasn't that big into it and only cared about collecting the cards. Some of my favorites were the Pikachu cards, ones with Lucario and Riolu, Cubone, and all the Evolutions, and a bunch more I can name off. My main favorite, which was my pride and joy, ought to be this card. I may or may not own this card, but I still love it all the same. At number 4, we have the anime. The first memory I ever had involving Pokemon was the anime, which is what kind of started my love for anime, mangas, games, and all things otaku related. The animes I watched as a kid were mostly Kimba on VHS tapes I owned at one point, and the Hamtaro anime around the early 2000s, and of course, classic modern day Pokemon. I remember how this happened too. I was watching Cartoon Network one day and I found myself watching the Pokemon anime and falling in love with it the minute I started watching it. I can even remember the first episode of Pokemon I watched too, Ash Catches a Pokemon, where Ash catches a Caterpie and uses it to kick Team Rocket's ass. I also remember owning the VHS tapes early on in my childhood, mostly Poke Friends, Fighting Tournament, and The Great Pokemon Race, and Pokemon the First Movie. I even remember renting all Pokemon VHS tapes whenever my family and I would go to video rental stores to rent movies, TV shows, and the occasional video game every now and then. I started owning more DVD and VHS tapes of Pokemon later on, but now we have Pokemon TV and online streaming services like Netflix and Hulu to find more Pokemon shows and movies. And you can find them online for free, if you find the right websites, of course. For number 3, we have the fandom. Growing up, I had a lot of friends who were just as big on Pokemon as I was, but as most of them got older, and a lot of them drifted away from Pokemon. Except for me. But thankfully, there was the internet. DeviantArt with Tamer Frog and Random Doom, YouTube with the Jay Witz, Tamashi, and Tricky Wee, and many more to name off. The fandom brought in more friends who loved Pokemon as much as I did, and found me a lot of other people who were even adults that loved Pokemon twice as much as I did, and that filled my heart with joy, and even inspired me to create Pokemon related content on my own. Whether it was making top number videos for the franchise, talking about various topics, or just doing fan art of Pokemon, the fandom is what I love most about it. For number 2, we have the artwork. Hear me out on this one. Ever since I got a copy of Pokemon Art Academy and a few Pokemon art books, I've been really into art of the game and anime, and even the manga. Heck, I think Pokemon was the main inspiration for me to get into artwork. Since I was drawing Pikachu, and ever since I was either a kindergartner or a 3rd grader. It wasn't until I found the fan comic Random Doom that got me into creating my own Pokemon characters in fan art. And finally, number 1 is the games. As obvious as that is, the games were what really inspired Pokemon fans young and old. From classic Game Boy Color games to the Nintendo Switch, Pokemon games have always been a major part of the community, and enjoyable memories for Pokemon fans alike. While going through some tough times of being bullied day in and day out, Pokemon was both the main source of comfort and a thing that made me a target. So whenever I came home and finished whatever homework I had, I'd play the games whenever I saw the possible chance. And one of the best feelings in the world was completing a Pokemon game. Defeating the Elite Four and the champion was a huge accomplishment in the games, and one of the greatest feelings in the world, though I've only finished 2 games I know of so far, and those games are Diamond and Pokemon X. I also remember playing games on the classic Game Boy and Nintendo 64 several times when I was younger. My father even gave me the special Pikachu edition, along with the trading card game for the Game Boy, with said Game Boy for my birthday, and an N64 with Pokemon Stadium for Christmas one year, and later gifted me Hey You Pikachu for my birthday about a year later. I feel like my dad encouraged my inner nerd throughout my childhood, and I couldn't thank him more for it. So that was fun to look back on. If you have a favorite Pokemon memory you want to share, feel free to leave it in the comments below. That being said, I'll see you in the next one, pups. Cue the outro, RP is out, peace!